Do you think it'll get better in the future? Like, you said people are getting tired of the authenticity because it's interesting because I see women getting more power in the future, like having more money, having like more in general. There's some like glimmers of hope maybe with Trump and like Twitter, but I'm just wondering like what's your prediction in 10 years from now? Will it be better or worse for men?
Okay, so because that's a two-pronged thing. So
Yeah.
you're asking me, will it get better in the dating world, and then will it get better with the cancel culture
Yeah.
and virtue signaling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for dating, it's gonna get worse. It's the question is are things gonna get better for men dating
Y-
wise first, and then the second question is,
mm,
are we gonna get a better result from this
Yeah.
woke virtue signaling culture?
Yeah.
Okay. So I answer the first one first. For the dating, no. I think it's going to continue to get worse. And what's going to end up happening is, I think, and this is going to a crazy conspiracy theory. I think sex robots are going to be the thing within the next 50 years.
Okay.
I've seen them go up in manufacturing. I've seen more people talking about them. Japan's already a couple of years ahead of us in this regard. And I've realized that a lot of guys would rather just play video games or be in solitude than hang out and do the work for modern day women. Because what's ended up happening is this: average men no longer qualify for average women. Being a dude making 30 to 50K per year and being a nice guy and being a good potential husband is no longer attractive or sexy enough to a majority of women. So what's happened is women's standards have gone up, but the problem is that their virtue's gone down. So since women are making more money and have more status, their standards have went up. But the problem is that these are things that men don't really give a shit about,
Right.
right? Men care way more about virtue. So in their pursuit of making more money, becoming successful and pushing off marriage and relationships later on in life, their virtue's gone down because they've been more promiscuous in college, etc. So for guys, a lot of guys are kind of waking up and saying, okay, is the juice worth the squeeze? No, it's not. I'd rather just get a hooker or get a chick that I smash every now and then, or get a sex doll and do that, or look at porn. That's why porn is, I don't know if you've noticed, like the popularity of porn and the
Yeah.
ubiquity of it has exploded over the past 10 years. As we've seen social media rise and women's standards go up, pornography has exploded in popularity. So I think with men, right, men always find a way to deal with a problem. And in this case, we have a reproductive problem for a majority of men. So
Mm.
they found ways to get around this by getting hookers, going on porn sites. Only that we've seen the explosion of OnlyFans within the last 5 years, etc. So this all tells us that there are men that are absolutely struggling with women, right? So I think it's going to continue to get worse because women's standards are not going down and they're not going back in the kitchen. As much as these tradcons want to sit there and say, oh, well, we need to make a return and make women traditional again, etc. It's not fucking happening, because for every Pearl or Isabella Moody or a girl that, Candace Owens, a woman out there that has conservative values that says, hey, women need to be women, there's millions of women that will never go back to the kitchen, right? This is why female conservative commentators are so rare, because in general, women don't have conservative viewpoints unless they have a strong father or a husband in their life. So that's number one. I don't see us going backwards where women are going to lower their standards and be subject to a man's authority that's average. The only way you're going to be able to get that is you're going to have to be a top tier guy. And these guys we know don't settle down. So
Yeah.
women have almost created this sexual marketplace that actually puts them at a disadvantage. I've always said it, like, whenever you put women in charge of the sexual marketplace, the only people that win are the top 1% guys, because then they really control everything. Feminism has inadvertently given all the leverage to the top percentage of men, while simultaneously taking the leverage away from a lot of the women and getting regular guys completely out the marketplace. So that's what I would say. I think it's going to get worse for men from a dating perspective. You have to be exceptional to be able to get a girl. That's one. Now, when it comes to the woke culture and this virtue signaling bullshit and all that other stuff, I do think we're getting better in that regard. We saw Kendrick Lamar bomb on the Super Bowl halftime show. It was rated as one of the worst Super Bowl halftime shows ever. He brought in a black Uncle Sam, aka Samuel L. Jackson. His performance was nothing but black people there. He tried to send a message about reparations and the 40 acres and the mule and also all this other, pro-black bullshit that they always try to do, this propaganda. And that might have worked 5 years ago during the George Floyd riots. It might have worked 10 years ago when it was cool to take a kneel during the national anthem. But people are tired of the virtue signaling. People are tired of the political correctness. People are tired of the racial propaganda of minorities deserve to get these certain jobs, DEI. Like the election of Donald Trump, and in a landslide fashion, by the way, proved that people want to be able to say what they want to say, regardless of how bigoted, misogynistic, racist, or whatever it is people might think. So I do think that freedom of speech is making a small comeback. Are we ever going to get complete freedom of speech? No, right? But we obviously, it'd be great to work towards it and try to get it. But I do think that when it comes to woke culture, DEI, political correctness, all this other bullshit, it's dying. We got rid of DEI. There's two genders now, as recognized by federal law. Trump signed an executive order banning men from women's sports, which, it's crazy that we even let it get that far. I mean, one of the most telling things is Trump and J.D. Vance campaigned on saying, oh, we're gonna bring back common sense of politics. Like what? Like what kind of fucking bizarre world are we in where the presidential candidate is campaigning on common fucking sense? That tells you how far left we went. And now, obviously, Donald Trump coming in is bringing things more, I would say just bringing it more center, because I wouldn't even consider Donald Trump far right or alt right or anything. He's honestly more center right than anything.
Yeah.
So, he's pretty left on immigration. He's pretty left on feminism and abortion, all this other stuff. It's just that we've gone so goddamn woke that he looks like a far right, president when he's not even close. So I do think that the woke culture is dying. Trump coming in and winning in a landslide victory proved that, because he beat a black woman for president, which you would think she's the poster child of DEI, and she lost, which is fantastic, because we don't need more of this woke bullshit, man. It's extremely annoying, and people are tired of it. We're really tired of it.
I can't believe they let you on Pierce Morgan. I could not believe it. I saw you on. I was like, what on earth? But sorry, keep going. What were you saying?
No, because I love that you mentioned that, because I was going to talk about Kanye next.
Yeah.
And I did a whole thread about this on Twitter, why Kanye's his tirade on Twitter actually was extremely successful and made him a lot of money, and how it was planned. But to kind of go into that, because you mentioned the Pierce Morgan thing, obviously they brought me on to talk about the whole Kanye West thing, because I'm real big on, free speech absolutism or maximalism, however you want to look at it. And I didn't really have a problem with a majority of the things that he posted. I mean, obviously I didn't like the pornography or whatever, but pornography doesn't constitute free speech, which they were trying to conflate the two. Pierce was trying to tell me that freedom of speech or pornography are the same. And I'm like, not at all, dude. Like freedom of speech, right, is not the same as freedom of image or freedom of video, right? Like it's not the same whatsoever. But Kanye West, getting the amount of engagement that he got. Well, of course, he got a lot of hate as well, but a lot of people supported him when he was saying a lot of these like very controversial things.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because people are Nazis, and I don't think it's because people hate black people or hate women or hate Jews. No, the reason why people liked what he was saying is because he allowed people to see a controversial topic be brought to the forefront, and us being able to critically think. Because you would see that tweet, it would make, trigger you emotionally, and then you got to make a decision. Do you agree with this or do you not? But then it forces you to critically think, and that's something that we haven't had in a while, right? Because if you look at a lot of these celebrities, they're all woke. They're all scared to say things that are racy. They're all scared to say things that are controversial. But you got a celebrity like Kanye, who's an A-list celebrity, internationally known, saying, I'm Yadoff. Like, that's wild, but it's provocative, it's funny, it's fresh, it's different. It's something that people don't have the balls to do. It's brave, whether you agree with it or not. So him being able to get this engagement and be able to get this, go viral like this on the internet. And I honestly think he stole the Super Bowl limelight away from Kendrick Lamar, because on one end, you got Kendrick Lamar doing this pro-black, virtue signaling, black power bullshit performance, right? Which we're fucking tired of with the BLM stuff that we had to endure over the past 5 years. Then on the other hand, you got Kanye West, another black artist, who's saying all this crazy stuff, right? That'd be considered like far-right propaganda, but he's going after everybody, and people are like loving it. And he doubled his sales in shirts. People were talking about him. He hit the headlines despite not having an album out. And I think the reason why he was able to steal the limelight from someone like a Kendrick Lamar to some degree is because it was refreshing to see someone speak their mind.
Are you going to get a collab with him, you think, at some point? Is it in the works? Is it?
It's funny because I hit up Nick on the side. Look, if Kanye wants to do something, it'd be great, but I truly do think that he just did that as a marketing run for his merch. I don't think he did that to like really that. And that's another reason too why I was laughing at Pierce and all these other guys, because they were so offended by what Kanye was saying. I was like, bro, he's joking, he's trolling. He probably doesn't even believe in half the shit that he tweeted. He just wanted to get a rise out of everybody. And he did it. He successfully did it, and he sold his merch and got in the headlines without even having an album out, and he doubled his sales. He literally doubled his sales. The same cancel culture that destroyed him 2 years ago, right, with the ADL, etc., when he said the stuff about DEF CON, that same cancel culture went ahead and made him, he used that same cancel culture against him and was able to make a bunch of money selling merch.
Yeah. So when you said it's going to get worse for men, where it's like it's going to get more, like more women are sleeping with the same men in the future, does that mean women that are like 4s, 5s, and 6s are going to be having sex less because they're like the top guys don't have as much time?
No, so one thing I've noticed is like, regardless of how ugly a woman is, she can get laid no matter what. So I don't think, because here's the thing, lower status guys and ugly guys still get played too every now and then. It's far and few between, but they still absolutely do it. So for women, I don't think they're ever going to have less sex because, all they have to do is get on Tinder, go to a new city, and they can go ahead and scratch that itch, which a lot of women do that, right? They surreptitiously do it, of course. But I don't think women are ever going to experience like a sex drought. As a matter of fact, to prove that women never experience a sex drought, remember when Trump won? What did women say? Oh, we're not having for the next 4 years, right? When Trump threatened Colombia with the sanctions or whatever, what did the Colombian women do? Oh, we're not going to have sex until this thing gets fixed. Like, women have so much sexual access that they're able to literally get on social media and wield it as a leverage tool against men. So I don't think women are ever going to have a problem with getting laid ever. If anything, they use it to their own advantage. It used to be, I'm going to wield this and use it to get marriage, right? And a family. Now they use it for political leverage, financial leverage, status leverage. And that's just where we are now, where women just use their sexuality to get a come up.
I was just wondering, I have seen in my interviews women claiming they go like 1 year, 2 years without having sex. Do you think that's all cap, or do you think they're telling the truth at all?
It's a fucking lie.
Go ahead,
What
go
I've
ahead.
noticed with that, when girls say that, oh, I'm celibate, or I haven't had sex in XYZ, what they're not saying is they hooked up with their boyfriend or with an ex or a guy that they've had, a fling with, right? And they don't count that. Like, and you're a girl, that, like,
I'm gonna ask that. Okay, sorry, keep going.
yeah, ask them, because like when they say that dumb shit, just be like, okay, but did you hook up with an ex or a guy that you used to have a fling with or whatever? Because girls, what they'll do is they won't count that. They'll say, oh, I'm celibate. What they really mean is, I'm celibate from having sex with new partners.
Well, or they don't count blowjobs. Like they'll do everything but, and they won't count it.
Yeah, or they'll do anal and not count it, or they'll have sex with a condom and not count it. Like it's crazy. Girl math is like an insane concept. Someone needs to write a book on this shit. Like how girls will like use very strange scenarios to justify their actions and not count certain things but count other things.
Well, I think you'd be the person to do it. You've interviewed more
book on girl math or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.